Hello, Dr. Anita Johnston here, and I am in Palau right now. Wait, where's Palau? Well, Palau is south of Guam. Oh, where's Guam? Well, both Guam and Palau, they're part of the Micronesian islands. So you know there's Polynesia, which most people know about because that's Hawaii and that's Tahiti. And then there's Melanesia, that's around where New Guinea is. And then there's Micronesia, which means little islands, and there's lots of them. So Palau is about 7 degrees north of the equator. Guam is about 14 degrees north of the equator, and Hawaii about 22. So to get to Palau, you go to Hawaii and then to Guam, and then you turn left and go south, and you get to Palau. Now, the thing about Palau is it's one of, not one of, I think it's the most beautiful place on the planet. As I'm going to show you, the islands are pristine. The water feels like silk on your skin and is crystal clear, and the corals are brilliant and amazing. But culturally, Palau is a very interesting place. One of the things I find most compelling is that they still have rituals for girls who have their first menstrual cycle. So they celebrate many of the phases that women typically go through. When a woman gives birth for the first time, it's extraordinary what they do. They cover her body in oil so that her skin shimmers, and there's dancing and there's celebration. And when a girl goes into menarche, which is the very first experience of her menstrual cycle, her first menstrual period, they have this really lovely ritual where the aunties and the mother and big sisters and older cousins, what they do is they gather herbs and flowers from the jungle, and they make this steam bath. And the girl, who is now becoming a woman, gets to be infused with fragrances that are amazing as a way of honoring her entry into womanhood. And one of the flowers is the iling iling flower, which you might call lang lang. It's pronounced from different places in different ways, and the flower itself is not much to look at, but the fragrance is extraordinary. So I want you to think about it just for a minute. Imagine that maybe you grew up in Palau, and as a young girl, to celebrate your very first experience of your menstrual cycle, you were taken with your aunties and maybe older sisters or your mother, and who gathered the herbs and the flowers to perform this very special ritual that infused you with the most delicious fragrances to celebrate you becoming a woman. Now I want you to stretch your imagination a little further and think about if your very first experience of coming into the body of a woman was treated like that, and that was what you were exposed to, and that there was this amazing celebration, and that your senses were brought into it. How do you think that might affect your body image? How do you think it would affect your understanding of what it means to come into the body of a woman? Now, of course, if you weren't raised in a place like Palau, you do have to use your imagination. But that's what our imagination is for, is to imagine the possibilities, and then to imagine a new way of thinking, a new way of being in the world, a new way of being in your body. one where you celebrated and honored the extraordinary event that marks your womanhood. And imagine what that would do to your relationships with the curves that come with becoming a woman, the changes that the body goes through, the extraordinary changes that mark the change from girlhood to womanhood. Think about that. Use your imagination in this way so that you could imagine how your life might be different, so that you could imagine how your relationship to your body might be different. And knowing that there are places around the world that honor and celebrate this most extraordinary experience, and that they have rites of passage for all girls that gives them the message that coming into the body of a woman with all of its curves, with all of its power, is really a most extraordinary event. Again, think about, how do you think your relationship to your body would be different if this had been your experience, if this had been your introduction to womanhood? And so, from the Light of the Moon Cafe in Palau, in Micronesia, in the Pacific, I hope to see you next time.